The 1994-95 Premiership season had ended in utter disappointment for Palace and their fans. They were in fact relegated, and soon afterwards the manager departed from the club. Worse was still to come, as many of the established stars went looking for top-flight football elsewhere. Chairman Ron Nodes decided to completely reorganise the management structure, and in fact brought Steve Coppell in as technical director. Under Steve were Ray Lewington and Peter Nicholas. They were charged with coaching the first team. The stadium itself also had a completely new look, with the massive Holmesdale Road stand towering above the complex. Everything was then in place for an attempt to bounce straight back into the Premiership. However, football's not as simple as that, and the next 9 months was to prove a rocky road for both players and management alike.
It was a much-changed Palace that faced Barnsley at home on the season's opening day. Some famous names were gone. Eric Young, John Sulaco, Chris Armstrong, Paul Williams and Gareth Southgate were all part of the high-profile summer exodus. But there was new talent on display, and despite the absence of the famous five, the crowd received excellent entertainment. The first game was one to savour and to remember at Selhurst Park, with the result in doubt until the very end.
Martin, flick on by Ian Dowie. Bruce Dyer shaking off his marker onto his left foot, and in the end a horrible miscue by Bruce Dyer. Palace keeping up the early momentum now. Dean Gordon nicely past his man to David Hopkin. David Hopkin going for the line, cuts it across, chance surrender, breaks for Gordon. Great save by Butler, and Barnsley relieved to get that one away. Palace piling on the pressure, and now it's Barnsley on the break. Andy Payton getting a cross in. Payton again took a deflection and just wide of Nigel Martin's left-hand post, and Andy Payton holding his head in despair as we look again at the chance for Dean Gordon. Blasted with that left foot, and a great reflex save by the Barnsley keeper. And here's Payton's chance at the other end. Deflection taking it just wide. Here's the resultant corner. Redfern, and at the far post there's Davis, and Davis scores for Barnsley. And slightly against the run of play, Barnsley take the lead. It's their big centre half, Steve Davis, rising at the far post and guiding a header into the opposite corner. Barnsley 1, Palace 0. Palace then trying to get back into this game after that early setback. Here's Bruce Dyer. Still Dyer onto Ray Houghton. Slotted past Butler for the equaliser. Ray Houghton calmly taking that chance. Really set up for him by a fine run from Bruce Dyer. Lovely turn by Bruce Dyer. Houghton starts his run, and Dyer perfectly weighted into his path. And a left-footed, side-footed shot by Houghton. Palace 1, Barnsley 1. Confusion in the Barnsley defence, but they get it away. Fine header by Coleman, and Houghton carries on, no flag. Houghton squares it across, here's Dowie, it's 2. Palace 2. Barnsley 1, the goal starting to flow in. Ian Dowie opening his account as the Barnsley players appeal for an offside decision that didn't come. Well, clearly Endar was in an offside position, not interfering with play. Houghton continued, and a gift there for Ian Dowie. Here's Edworthy. Momentarily trips, but gets it back out to Ray Houghton, who's worked tirelessly this afternoon. Now back to Edworthy. Nicely out to Bruce Dyer. Can he get the cross in? He does. And arriving at the far post, Dowie. His second, Palace's third, and Dowie acknowledges the fans at the Sainsbury's end. Typical centre-forward goal, the sort of goal that Ian Dowie has scored plenty of over the years. He'll acknowledge that fine cross by Bruce Dyer, and Dowie arriving right on cue. It's Palace 3, Barnsley 1. Well, Barnsley rather shell-shocked. And here could be another one for Palace. Lots and lots of space for Ray Houghton. Looks across. Plenty waiting in the middle. But what a disappointing cross after such a long run from Ray Houghton. And Rammell loses out to Richard Shaw. Shaw advancing into the box. And challenge there by Rammell, brought down, and the referee pointing immediately to the spots. Well, the mistake by Rammell in the first place, chases back to try and atone, and really that was a forwards challenge, no real doubt that that's a penalty, and it'll fall to the tried and trusted left foot of Dean Gordon. Smashes it home. That's 4 for Palace. Palace 4, Barnsley 1. And seems a long, long time ago since Barnsley took an early lead. Dean Gordon giving the keeper no chance whatsoever. Here come Palace again. Endar gliding past one, brought down, but the referee in fact waving play on. Endar looks in a bit of trouble as Bullock now advances on the right for Barnsley. And the referee in fact bringing play back to see if Endar needs treatment, and many home fans of the opinion that a free kick should have been given, and rather hard to tell from the replay really. In fact, I think the referee has stopped the game for a free kick to Barnsley. Indeed he has. So Barnsley desperately trying to get back into this game. Header coming in from Vivash, they've got one back. Adrian Vivash giving Barnsley a glimmer of hope. Now Palace 4, Barnsley 2, and Palace will be a bit concerned about a free header there for big Adrian Vivash. Houghton finding Dowie, Dowie quick turn and a fine effort. Good turn and swivel by Ian Dowie, and he's in line of course for a hat-trick, but that one just over. Astute pass as ever from Ray Houghton, and Dowie just couldn't keep it down enough. Here come Barnsley again, good ball out by Neil Redfern. Cross coming over, and it's another one to Barnsley. Liddell giving Barnsley real chance now. Again, an unchallenged header, and Nigel Martin furious with his defenders. Hopkin done some good work for Palace this afternoon. No cross coming over, it's forced for Dyer, and he skies it in the end. But more good work from Hopkin, and Bruce Dyer not had the best of luck in front of goal this afternoon, it has to be said. Ray Houghton coming again. Palace desperately holding on, there goes the final whistle. Palace win by 4 goals to 3.
Palace almost throwing the game away, the defence conceding 3 when the game seemed to be wrapped up.
We seem to do it quite a bit, going 2-3 goals up and almost getting pegged back, but fortunately in this one we just held on.
A 1-0 defeat at Ipswich Town, also relegated from the Premiership, followed, then Charlton cross South East London.
David Hopkin, a bit of a long throw specialist, hurling one into the box. There's Dowie, great save by Salmon, manages to get a finger to it, and Ian Dowie getting in there where it hurts in the 6-yard box, putting his header into what he thought was the back of the net, and a fine fingertip save for Ian Dowie. Charlton on the attack now with Boyer. U-turn to Boyer onto his left foot. What a fine effort by Lee Boyer. Boyer giving Charlton the lead, and easy to see why they rate him so highly at the Valley. Lovely goal, left-footed shot, curled past Nigel Martin, into the top far corner. Here's Robinson. Past Edworthy. Still Robinson, and at the near post straight at Nigel Martin. Good save by the keeper. But Robinson will probably feel he should have gone far post. Coleman. Boyer. Oh, shaken out of it by Ian Dowie. Dowie onto his right foot, going for goal, but just over. Ian Dowie causing a few problems for the Charlton defenders, but as yet not quite on target. So Charlton holding grimly onto their lead, almost non-stop Palace pressure. Here's Bruce Dyer, cross to the far posts, and back again. Hopkin arriving late, and corner given. Mike Salmon not too pleased, but referee in no doubt. Dean Gordon then with this corner for Palace. Floated in. Coleman's there. Matthew. Hopkin. Space here for Simon. Roger gets a cross in. There's Dyer. The equaliser for Palace in front of the new Holmesdale stand. Bruce Dyer levels it up. And all credit to substitute Simon Roger. No cross, hit first time by Bruce Dyer. It's one apiece.
That 1-1 draw was followed by the Eagles' first away win.
Sheffield United trying to get the cross in it goes. Shot coming in and off Chris Coleman. Off the outside of the post almost, but not quite. An own goal. Chris Coleman's deflection, just the right side of the post. Whitehouse trying to trick his way through, but losing out. Matthew, long ball into the path of Bruce Dyer. Bruce Dyer, chance here, calmly finishes. Bruce Dyer giving Palace the lead. Bruce Dyer winning that tussle. No real question of a foul there, and calmly taking his time and slotting it past Alan Kelly. Houghton. Another chance for Dyer. Dyer, but still Dyer. And eventually off the line. Well, Bruce Dyer looks as if he'd lost the ball. Looks to be the keeper's, but he somehow gets it past him. Tight angle and eventually off the line. Sheffield United then still trading to that Bruce Dyer goal in the first half. Quickly taken free kick, space on the right. Cross coming in. Flo! And Justin Flo has equalised for Sheffield United. The sort of service really that he thrives upon, and beating Chris Coleman and powering the header home. So United lifted by that equalising goal. Coming forward again, here's Whitehouse. What a cracking shot by Whitehouse. Nigel Martin, no chance whatsoever. And Sheffield United take the lead. There's Whitehouse, 20 yards out. A thumping finish into the far corner. Easy one for the keeper. Time running out for Palace, just over 5 minutes to go. Trading by 2-1. Here's Dyer. Here's Dean Gordon. It's there. Tremendous shot by Dean Gordon. Another spectacular effort in this game. This time from the left foot of Dean Gordon. Met it with full power and thumped it in off the crossbar, and Palace are level with just a couple of minutes to go. Palace certainly not settling for just 1 point. Coming forward again. Here's Dean Gordon again, getting in behind the defence. Still Gordon. Must be for Dyer. It is. A dramatic third, and surely the winner for Crystal Palace, courtesy of Bruce Dyer. Palace 3, Sheffield United 2. A late strike. Easy as you like for Bruce Dyer.
Palace's first 4 games had seen 15 goals. There were none in the next 3, but from the goalie's point of view, the defensive displays were the real tonic.
Yes, it was. It was very pleasing. It was long overdue. We were hoping to start with a few clean sheets, really, and we were chasing after one and managed to get one there. And like you say, Dougie came. It was a difficult time for him. Just come big move, but he fitted in tremendously for us.
Friedman was cup-tied for the Coca-Cola Cup game against Southend. It was left to David Hopkin to carry the striking responsibility.
Shaw's header, Southend coming forwards. Julian Hales on the ball. Has a shot, saved by Martin, but it's gone in. Nigel Martin fisting the ball away, but only succeeds in helping it into the net, and Southend take an early lead. Bumping it upfield. There's Hopkin. Hopkin has lobbed the keeper and it's in. Palace are level. David Hopkin, quick thinking on his part. Saw the keeper racing out and cleverly lobbing it over and into the net. Good goal for David Hopkin. There's Powell. Ball played out wide. Cross coming in. There's Hales. A second for Southend. Southend United 2, Palace 1. Not long to go. Frantic whistles from the home fans. Palace desperately searching for an equaliser. Second leg to come, of course. Here's Endar. Endar's cross coming in. Houghton. Powell's clearance. Force to Hopkin. It's in. Hopkin has equalised right on the stroke of full time. David Hopkin. Terrific scramble and Hopkin hooks it home. Palace 2, Southend 2.
Back in the league and back to more goals. 4 goals went in at Boundary Park, but this time the balance against Palace.
The big guns forward for this one. And Hopkin has given Palace a lead. Brennan's free kick. McCarthy, he's done it now. Sean McCarthy to Graham, who finds Benja. Benja in towards McCarthy. And Brennan, 2-1. Mark Brennan does it. McCarthy's got up. Benja, surely now. He's gone too wide. He's got it now. Benja does it.
Just a very poor performance. We didn't start very well. Got overrun by what was really at the time a very average First Division side, and they made us look a lot worse than them.
The protracted transfer of Gareth Davis was finally concluded in time for him to play against Stoke City at the end of September.
Here's Ray Houghton. Edworthy to the right, but plays it into the box. There's Hopkin, but couldn't get any real power on the header, and straight at Mark Crudo. Shaw, powerful header. Edworthy, long ball forwards, and the chase is on. Here's Dougie Friedman. Can he open his account for the Eagles? He has! Dougie Friedman giving Palace the lead. But he was brought from Barnet to score goals for the Eagles, and he has done just that. Cooley taking goal in the end, holding off his marker and slotting it past Prudo. Jamie Vincent falling for picture, but the move breaking down. Stoke now coming forwards with Lee Sandford. Long ball forwards. Finding its way through to Carruthers. Real chance here. Past Martin. Must score surely. He does. Martin Carruthers equalising for Stoke City. Bit of disarray really in the Palace defence, and Martin Carruthers taking full advantage. Stoke City are level. It's one apiece. Taylor out wide to Edworthy. Taylor's there, good header and a marvellous save by Prudo. Stoke City get the rebound away, and Gareth Taylor doing everything but scoring then for Palace. Cross coming in, great header but an even better save from Mark Prudo.
The 5th draw in 9 league games, and again it was a relief to forget the First Division and turn to the Coca-Cola Cup and the visit of Southend.
Good skills by Leon McKenzie. Shot coming in from Dyer. Here's Hopkin, and a tremendous save by Simon Royce. Very highly rated indeed, Simon Royce. Easy to see why. One good save, picks himself up, and another marvellous save from David Hopkin. So it's all Palace in these early stages. The tie locked at 2 apiece. Here's Ray Houghton shipping the ball in. There's Mackenzie. Didn't quite come off for him this time, but might break for Hopkin. Lays it off to Jamie Vincent. Picked that one out of the net. Tremendous shot from Jamie Vincent. He's opened his account at senior level with a thumping effort laid on for him by Hopkin, and Vincent hammers it home. Palace 3-2 ahead on aggregates. There's Mackenzie, thumping challenge, falls low for Dyer, and another save from Simon Royce out of the top draw. And Mackenzie showing he can take a tackle, falls to Bruce Dyer, and marvellous save by Royce yet again, keeping Southend in this tie. Here's Dyer to Dean Gordon, Ross coming over, here's Mackenzie, chance, it's there! The 17-year-old scores on his debut, and isn't he just delighted? Gordon's cross, Mackenzie times his run and gets the goal his performance tonight has so richly deserved.
Leon Mackenzie, man of the match and the launch pad for a promising career.
Tremendous. He ran his socks off for the whole game, harried defenders, closed down. His work rate was tremendous on the night, and got his reward when he got a bike at the end.
A 1-0 home defeat against Sunderland sent Palace plunging to 20th place in the First Division. Surely no one would at that point have predicted a top 3 finish for Palace, but captain Ray Houghton's spirits never fell as low as the team's league placing.
And I just looked round our changing room and seen the quality in our changing room, and looked round at the other teams in the division, and I was wondering why we were in the position we were. I think it was just confidence, pure and simply. Before Dave Bassett came, just before he came, we went on a run of games where we were beating teams away from home, picking up points here, there and everywhere really, and I thought we looked a decent outfit, and I knew it would only be a matter of time where we would score the chances we were missing and we'd be climbing up the league, because I actually think that we were maybe in the top 2 teams in the league.
Palace were winners at Vale Park, but barely 7,000 were there to witness it.
Hopkin with the throw for Palace, some good early second half pressure from the Eagles. Here's Taylor to Friedman, left-footed shot, it's there! It's beaten Van Huysden, and Palace take the lead. A thumping effort from Dougie Friedman, and the away contingent are delighted. Friedman strikes again for Palace. Good flick on from Gareth Taylor, and that looping effort from Dougie Friedman, totally deceiving the big Dutch goalkeeper. Port Vale then with this corner, desperately seeking an equaliser. Flicked on, another header, chance here for Glover, and in the nets. Port Vale are level. Glover's efforts just trickling really past Nigel Martin. Might have got a little bit of deflection, but Port Vale fans won't worry about that. They're level, and really a lot of bodies in that 6-yard box. Falls for Glover, and might have got a little bit of a deflection and agonisingly into that far corner. Well, that's a pretty poor free kick, and quickly released by Nigel Martin into the path of Dougie Friedman, and he's got lots of space ahead of him, but not too much support. Plays it into the path of Damien Matthew. On to Dean Gordon coming forward. Dean Gordon! And another Dean Gordon special! Palace are in the lead, and Dean Gordon has given what could be a vital second to Palace and 3 away points. Dean Gordon fully 25 yards out, spectacular effort as we've come to expect from him, and Van Huysden nowhere really. I think the keeper really beaten by the sheer pace of that shot. Gordon with a shot fit to win any game.
After that, hopes were high for the visit of arch rivals Millwall. The game was televised, but Palace fans can't have been pleased by what they saw.
Well, there's Barry getting the better of Roberts there. Now, what sort of cross can he put in? Malkin's on the end of it! And Millwall go ahead. Hopkin. He's back to good cross in there, flicked away. Dean Gordon now with a great goal! 1-1. He scored last week, the winner at Port Vale. He's banged in an absolutely unstoppable one here. An instinctive bang into the back of the net. George Graham?
Well, what a finish. Real Premier League finish in that.
Alex Ray is on the edge of the box. Fuchs, another 6-footer in there, curling in. And it's gone in! Wow.
Millwall came, I think they were probably top of the league and they were playing very well at the time. We probably caught them at the wrong time. I thought we matched them in most departments, but I think it was just down to sort of individual mistakes on the day that cost us.
Next, Palace had the chance to atone in the Coca-Cola Cup against Middlesbrough.
Fjortoft is the target, getting a nod on there. Just touched back by Chris Coleman. It's a big up and under there, going towards Dyer, but it's back in midfield with Coleman again. Dean Gordon. Dyer's made the run out wide. McKenzie has gone into a central position, hand raised, keen to get involved. Looking for McKenzie. That's a goal. Hopkin comes in for the wide position. McKenzie was in the middle there. And Palace have made a stunning start. Well, what a shot for the Premiership boys there. That ball flung in towards the normally safe defence. And there, at the far post, David Hopkin. And that's Palace ahead. And Borough absolutely rocked in the first couple of minutes. Shaw, looking it towards Dyer, good layout there for Hopkin. Hopkin onto the left foot. That's a second goal, it got a deflection off Whelan. David Hopkin can do no wrong, but Borough's defence, and on that occasion the hapless Phil Whelan, their world is falling apart. This is a stunning start indeed by Palace. That was good running, a good layoff from Dyer, and a confident finish. Came inside his man, there was a deflection, and that gave Gary Walsh no chance. 9 minutes gone, and Hopkin found himself with some room, created even more, and that challenge proved fatal. And now Middlesbrough really do have it all to do. Musto. It's all the Londoners at the moment. Gordon, who's been in great form with the left foot, and a fine save there from Gary Walsh. Pearson, the skipper. Barmby, Pollock, Hignett making a good run, still got plenty to beat, and Barmby letting it go. Fjortoft, Barmby, that's a superb goal from Middlesbrough. And Nicky Barmby, their man of the season, brings them back in contention here. Super passing skills though, applauded by the Borough fans. Finished off by Nicky Barmby, his fourth of the season. Fjortoft very much the pivot for it. There was the first run, and there the return, and there was the finish. And that's 2-1 now. Whelan, Fjortoft, another good layoff there. Hignett is through. Hignett now looking for the equaliser, and there it is. Craig Hignett, 2-2, and the double act does it again. Barmby the first, Hignett the second, and you just can't stop those two. It's all turned around now for Middlesbrough. Another sharp goal, full of fluent movement. Hignett was onto it. Are you watching Juninho? He says, I can finish as well. Just dinking it over the keeper for 2-2.
Palace counted themselves unfortunate to have to face a replay at the Riverside Stadium, but there was no time to dwell on that as the weekend brought league leaders Leicester City to Selhurst, a match Dean Gordon remembers well.
Yeah, Bruce Dyer scored quite early on and went in at half-time. I think it was 2-0 up, and came out second half and managed to get another one. Bruce Dyer again with a good header, and was playing really well. And then suddenly we took our foot off the accelerator, started to relax like we shouldn't, and they managed to get 2 goals. All I remember, I think Mark Robbins came on and caused us a few problems, and he managed to get one back. And then towards the end, I think 5 minutes to go, they got a second one, and then after that, we was all at panic. It was panicking at the back, but we managed to scrape through, and good win it was.
Here's David Hopkin for Palace, out to Edworthy. Edworthy's cross, looking for Gareth Taylor, finding Dyer in space, chance here, and Bruce Dyer opens the scoring for Palace. Set up for him by big Gareth Taylor, and from 6 yards out, Bruce Dyer continues his good goal-scoring run. There's Pitcher, lofting it forward. Hopkin, a second for Palace. David Hopkins squeezing the ball home at the far post. Through ball from Darren Pitcher, and Hopkin taking his chance well and giving the keeper no chance. Palace then good value for this 2-goal lead. Coming forward again with Dyer. Finding Hopkin on the right flank. Chance of a cross, Hopkin. There's Taylor against the crossbar, and Dyer knocks in the rebound. Palace 3, Leicester 0. A second for Bruce Dyer, but a lot of credit has to go to big Gareth Taylor. But alert play by Bruce Dyer as well. Leicester, there's a chance for Mark Robbins, hit for the outside of the foot. Leicester back in this game, well taken goal by the ex-Man United striker Mark Robbins. Leicester coming forward again. There's Taylor, a second for Leicester. Scott Taylor putting Leicester right back into this game. And with just a couple of minutes to go, Palace bring on substitute Dougie Freedman. Grimly holding on to this 3-2 lead, Palace, but here's a chance for another for Freedman.
So once again a 3-0 lead almost given away, and worse followed, a 2-0 home league defeat against Reading. Then out of the cup in the replay at Middlesbrough. A 1-0 defeat at Carrow Road before the short trip to Southend, earning a point.
Well, it's an awkward back pass from Nigel Martin from Chris Coleman. There's Regis, and it's there. Dave Regis giving Southend the lead. Gareth Taylor for Palace. Roberts against the crossbar, and in off Mike Lapper.
Against Wolves, Gareth Davis and Joran Burr made their debuts, but it was Dougie Freedman who captured all the headlines.
Yeah, Dougie's done really well since he arrived from Barnet. Last season, I remember watching him on TV scoring quite a few goals for Barnet, and he's come to Palace. He didn't start off too well, first 2 or 3 games, but after that, he came on leaps and bounds, and he scored 20-odd goals this season, and it was a great hat-trick against Wolves.
Jamie Vincent trying to find a way through. There is none. Emblem coming away with it for Wolves. Gordon up against Don Goodman, one of the quickest strikers around, and covering up neatly at the back as ever, Andy Roberts. Cowans as far as Ray Houghton. Nice ball through to Dougie Freedman, taking it past Eric Young. Excellent finish by Dougie Freedman, giving Palace the lead. Dougie Freedman, left-footed shots past Mike Stowell. Taking that pass from Ray Houghton in his stride and really leaving Eric Young for dead. Space opened up, but what a cracking finish by Dougie Freedman. Andy Roberts. Flicked into the path of Vincent. Quick cross. There's Taylor. Hit with tremendous power, and Gareth Taylor yet to open his account for Palace. Almost doing so then, just over the bar. Emblem again. Through to Don Goodman, twisting and turning and getting a second chance, hitting it just over, and in fact Neil Emblem furious that the ball wasn't squared back to him. Well, Don Goodman, like all strikers I suppose, when he has a sight of goal, wants the glory for himself. Wasn't that far off target either, but you can see Emblem furious. Houghton. Thompson, Eric Young. Not the best of passes to Emblem. Young miscontrolled into the path of Dougie Freedman. Freedman, still Dougie Freedman. And into the back of the net, a deflection off De Wolf. Palace 2, Wolves 0, and Dougie Freedman will surely claim that. It was a horrible piece of control by Eric Young, having a miserable return to Selhurst. Still a lot of work to do for Freedman, and his efforts guided into the net by poor John De Wolf. Emblem. So there's Freedman helping out in defence. Houghton. Nice pass out to Jamie Vincent, and Freedman going through. Freedman on for a hat-trick. Cowan's in front of him. Still Freedman. It's there. Freedman's hat-trick. Palace's third. And Selhurst Stadium rises to give acclaim to Dougie Freedman. An excellent hat-trick. And really leaving Gordon Cowans nowhere, and calmly as you like, so pokey it past Mike Stowell. Goodman, here's Steve Ball, brought down, and the referee gives a penalty. Well, Andy Roberts' challenge on Steve Ball certainly high, and the ball striker has had a quiet time so far, has won his side a penalty. Andy Thompson stepping up to take it for Wolves. And makes no mistake. Wolves back in it. Palace 3, Wolves 1. And surely Palace aren't going to throw another 3-goal lead away. Here's the corner. Good header. Young! Great save by Martin. And Eric Young trying to atone for a couple of mistakes in the first half, almost getting another for Wolves. Corner coming over. Eric Young! And it's there! Eric Young has scored for Wolves, and suddenly it's Palace 3, Wolves 2. Well, it was a far post corner, and Eric Young gets on the end of it, and it trickles in.
But just as things seem to be getting better, the goal drought returned. A 0-0 draw against Derby, followed by a 1-0 defeat at Roker Park. Then came the return visit of Oldham Athletic, who'd inflicted the worst defeat of the season so far on the Eagles.
Hopkin, as ever, with the throw, this time a short one though. Freedman, nice cross, there's Davis, and he scored! Gareth Davis steals in at the far post, completely unnoticed, and heads home that fine cross from Dougie Freedman. Precision cross, well met by Gareth Davis. He opens his account for Palace. Here's Mackenzie, back to Hopkin. Plays it back into the path of Mackenzie, still Mackenzie, chance for the 17-year-old, but to be fair to him, took a nasty bobble and way over. A nasty little bobble and unable to keep it down. Hopkins long throw, flipped on by Coleman, here's Taylor, but fisted away by Paul Gerrard. Gareth Taylor desperately trying to score, thought his luck may have changed, but Gerrard equal to it. It's a clear case of handball, but play waved on. Gordon. Very good clearance by Redmond. Straight into the path of Hopkin. Finds Mackenzie. Mackenzie on to Freedman. Chance for Freedman. 2-0. Clinical finish by Dougie Freedman. And Dougie Freedman making no mistake. Starting to show what a good goal scorer he is. Good work by Mackenzie. Here's young Paul Rickers, hit well, and Nigel Martin forced to bring out a top-class save. Paul Rickers from fully 25 yards, and Nigel Martin doing enough to deflect it past the post. Chance here by Mackenzie, blocked by Gerrard. Mackenzie hit with the left foot, and Gerrard down very quickly onto it. Taylor, Roberts forward to Freedman. Freedman, chance over 3, but screws it wide. Another chance goes begging for Palace. Seeing that Dougie Freedman had done the difficult bit, lined himself up, but just wide. Corner then for Oldham. There's Vonk. Oldham get a goal back, and Vonk has injured himself in the process. Seems to have done a hamstring. Powerful header from the ex-Man City man, and Oldham are back in it. Well, it was from such a corner that Oldham got their goal just recently. Redmond, they've got another. Oldham have equalised. The header coming in from Steve Redmond. And again, a corner from Brennan. And fairly thumped home by Steve Redmond. Oh, Palace have only themselves to blame, really. Can they take the lead again through Freedman? Trying to chip Gerrard, and he clutches it at the very last moments. Intelligent effort by Dougie Freedman, trying to chip the keeper, but Paul Gerrard just manages to cling on to it.
3 emphatic away victories followed, the first coming at Stoke City.
Break here for Palace, and Freedman beaten to it. Freedman again, he scored! Dougie Freedman showing all the instincts of a natural goal scorer there, missing out, but on hand to tap in the rebound, and Palace have the lead. Edworthy chance to cross. There's Taylor, and Taylor at long last opens his account for Crystal Palace. Great relief for Gareth Taylor, and after many near misses in recent games, Gareth Taylor at last scores a goal for the Eagles. He'll be delighted. Palace 2, Stoke 0. Stoke, too much seen of them, still 2 goals to catch up. Here's Sharon, and there's one of them. Great strike and great finish by Mike Sharon.
It was back to the Midlands a week later, and this time against West Bromwich Albion at the Hawthorns.
Jamie Vincent being allowed to proceed almost unchallenged down the left, and says handball, surely. Yes, Mike Phelan clearly handled, penalty given. And the ex-Man United and Norwich player can surely have no complaints. What was he doing? So Dean Gordon, chance to give Palace the lead. And no mistake from Dean Gordon. Well, not hit with his customary power, but the placement was just right into the corner. Houghton almost through to Taylor. West Brom certainly looking ragged, to say the least, at the moment. Easy to see why they're in the middle of such a dreadful run. Here comes Gordon again, brought down. Is that another penalty? It is. The referee has given a second penalty to Palace. Utter dejection amongst the West Bromwich defenders. And Dean Gordon looked to be brought down, and a chance to make it 2-0. And another penalty perhaps for Dean Gordon. Yes, thumped into the back of the keeper's net, and that one hit with real power. And Palace 2 up thanks to 2 penalties. Friedman. Gordon, that man Gordon again, looking for Taylor and headed behind. And one-way traffic at the moment. Jamie Vincent with this corner for Palace. It's on by Taylor, there's Gordon! Gordon's got a hat-trick! Palace 3, West Bromwich 0, and incredibly all 3 down to Dean Gordon. A couple of penalties, that little header from the corner, and Dean Gordon has scored a hat-trick. Magic moment for him. There's a chance for Hamilton. And West Bromwich pulled one back. That's coming over. Derby with a header. It's 2 for West Brom. Palace 3, West Brom 2.
I scored a hat-trick in the first half, even though 2 were penalties. I remember in the change room before the game thinking, you know, I feel quite good today, and hopefully I can maybe score 1 or 2 and just want the team to get 3 points. And I remember us getting a penalty after about 15 minutes, and going up to take it, I was really nervous. And like all my penalties, I like to hit them quite firmly, but I managed to score, but I squiffed it into the bottom right-hand corner. And then the second goal, I remember, was another penalty, and I took that with a lot more confidence than the first. And then the third goal was, I thought, quite lucky. I remember a cross coming in from Jamie Vincent and being flicked off by Gareth Taylor, and then I just gone into a space and just hoping the ball would come to me, and stuck my head out, and the ball's hit my head and gone in. So it was a great day for me, and you know, I'll never forget it.
It was a quiet Christmas with the weather obliterating the Christmas fixtures, but Palace was still on top form as they travelled to Portsmouth to start the new year.
There's Dougie Friedman past his man. Friedman got Hopkin in the middle. Cuts it back, Hopkin, 1-0 Palace. Finally taken goal by David Hopkin, but Portsmouth may ask, where was the marking? There's Hopkin, driven right-footed into the top of the nets. There's Friedman again in lots and lots of space. Portsmouth defenders retreating, Friedman running at them, still Dougie Friedman. Friedman! 2-0 to Palace, great individual goal from Dougie Friedman. And he just ran and ran at the defenders, no challenge was coming, glided past one of them, and the ball off the keeper and trickling into the back of the nets. Palace then comfortably ahead. Here's Taylor to Edworthy. Got a good game so far. Houghton. Nicely into the path of Dougie Friedman, who has tormented this Portsmouth back four all afternoon. There he is again. Still Friedman. Back to Edworthy. Here's Hopkin. Chance for 3. David Hopkin, coolly as you like, slotting it home. It's Palace 3, Portsmouth 0. And Palace are seeing 96 in fine style. Good work by Friedman, Edworthy, and there's David Hopkin onside. 3-0. Just coming over. Scramble here. Chance for Portsmouth, and Guy Butters squeezing us in. And Portsmouth have got a goal back. Good work. Ross coming over. Headed back, here's Simpson, great shots, second for Portsmouth.
The year didn't continue as it had begun, however. Port Vale achieved a 0-0 draw in the FA Cup third round. Then it was 1 goal and 1 point apiece against Ipswich Town.
Taylor's header, not on target. Pitcher. Ray Houghton. Cross far post, couple of players unmarked. Well, Taylor and Davis both unmarked at the far post, but seem to get in each other's way. Here's Gordon. Still Dean Gordon going for the line, gets a low cross in. Not very convincingly cleared. Here's Ray Houghton, first time ball. Davis far post, Davis with a goal! Gareth Davis. Fine header at the far post. Seems to have a habit of arriving at the right time in the opponent's penalty area. Gareth Davis, and expertly loops his header over the keeper. Ipswich trying to claw their way back into this game. Here's Matthey. Oh, what a cracking shot. Matthey with the equaliser for Ipswich.
So a look at the league table in mid-January. 3 straight wins and a draw had lifted Palace to 15th place in a very tight First Division. 24 games played, 8 wins, 9 draws, 7 defeats and 33 points. Ejection from the FA Cup in the Vale Park replay was not just an embarrassment, but a blow to recovering morale. Hard to point out and pick out who scored the goals, 3 of them from Palace, courtesy of Taylor, Dyer and Cox. But sadly 4 from Port Vale, and this was the winner.
We're a good fit young team looking at how to do things in the Cup, and we didn't want to go out getting beat 3-1 away, we were getting beat easily, and we showed a little bit of commitment, fought back to 3 each, and it was a rainy day and it was a foggy night, and we showed a little bit of guts to fight back.
Then on to the return fixture against Barnsley at Oakwell.
Roger with the corner for Palace. Dean Gordon, he scored again. He's making a habit of this, Dean Gordon, his 8th of the season, and Palace take an early lead. Dean Gordon timing his run just right and calmly stroking it into the unguarded nets. I think this will probably be Dean Gordon, and within a whisker of a second, a shot against the angle of bar and post by Dean Gordon. Keeper beaten all ends up. Barnsley piling the pressure on. There's Redfern, there's Rammell. Another chance, an equaliser for Barnsley.
Weather again prevented play the following weekend, but there was still plenty to talk about. Rumour of managerial changes was now rife.
Yeah, the players were never really told what was going on. I think it was the papers, we just read the papers the exact way as the public did, and we never really knew what was happening.
Well, I think it was tricky for Dave, and as it was tricky for me. My argument was with the chairman all along. My argument wasn't with Dave. And, you know, I had the option whether to walk out or stay. And if I stayed, you know, I didn't want to mope and I didn't want to make it hard for Dave. I've got nothing against Dave. And since he's been here, he's been terrific. I think he's been rather brave in the fact that he knew of the arguments between myself and the chairman about the shape of the side and the system. And it would have been very easy for him to come in and rip the system up and say, we're going to play another way, knowing that the chairman would prefer that. But he didn't, he stuck with it. He was prepared to let it go and have a look at it.
You know, I was attracted to Palace because I know the area, I know some of the people there. I felt there was young players, and I felt that it's a club with potential. It's always been talked about potential, and there is a potential there if Palace can perhaps, you know, maintain a consistency in the Premier League as and when they get there. And it's been difficult for everybody concerned. It's easy to criticise the club and say, well, when we get to the Premier you should spend millions of pounds. It's not quite as easy as that, and I think fans are beginning to appreciate that now. And I suppose in a strange way, the Palace fans could probably say they've had an exciting, 10 or 12 years, because they've been up and down. It's been sort of a time where it's not stood still and become boring. But hopefully, we can fulfil what I want for myself and the club and the fans and directors. We get back into that Premier League. Whether we stay there's another thing altogether. What we want to do is get there, and we will try our best to make sure that we do.
Palace played out a 0-0 draw against Charlton before Bassett's appointment was confirmed. Quirkily, Harry's old team, Sheffield United, were the next visitors to Selhurst Park.
Ball played square. Great shot and great save by Nigel Martin. Here's Dyer. Good cross coming in. Taylor fisted away.
Sheffield United came down. It was Dave Bassett's old club. They had a point to prove, and he was obviously trying to show them that he's came to a better club.
With that hurdle cleared, Bassett inspired his new team to their best home win so far. That against Watford, a team it's fair to say plays some fairly negative football.
Here's Dougie Freedman in space on the right. Hopkin. No wonder the Watford goalkeeper is going, as they say, ballistic. Hopkin totally unmarked as he ran in and put his header just wide. Houghton. Hopkin. Ball played through to Freedman, good skills. Dougie Freedman, a goal! Dougie Freedman, marvellous finish. Sort of thing Palace fans are coming to expect from Dougie Freedman. Great bit of skill to get away from his man, with three players around him, calmly stroking it home. Houghton. Palace all over Watford's shaky defence. Here's Dyer with another chance, saved by Miller. Edworthy. And a second for Dougie Freedman. And no surprise really, fine cross, good finish from Dougie Freedman. It's 2-0. And the keeper no chance. Watford looking very much the side in trouble. Really has been an onslaught, and here come Palace again. Endar playing it through to Dougie Freedman, good pace, good skills, and just on that occasion taken out by the defender. Dean Gordon, Vincent, Houghton, nice interplay, finding Bruce Dyer. Bruce Dyer cutting inside, making space for himself, and to third. And really you have to blame the keeper. Bruce Dyer's shot probably should have been saved, but Bruce Dyer won't be too concerned about that. So I mentioned the defender making space, hit right-footed, and the keeper really should have stopped it, shouldn't he? And what the players will be glad to hear the final whistle. Here's Ray Houghton now, space in front of him, plays it out wide to Bruce Dyer. Bruce Dyer going for goal, and Dyer makes it 4. Palace 4, Watford 0, turning into a rout. Bruce Dyer taking his time, and he's becoming a much better finisher of late.
Palace on a roll, another good victory followed at Prenton Park against Tranmere Rovers.
Tranmere coming forwards. There's Bennett, opens the scoring for Tranmere, Gary Bennett. Aldridge going through, chance here for the veteran striker, and finishes in style, John Aldridge, 2-0 Tranmere. Endar easily past his man. Freedman, he's pulled one back for Palace. Good cross from Endar, nicely into his path by Burra, and typical Friedman finish. Friedman through to Burra, flag stays down, and Burra hits the equaliser. Jeroen Burra makes it 2 apiece. Jeroen Burra opens his accounts for the Eagles. So, minutes ticking away, 2 apiece. Are we in for some late drama? Here's Ray Houghton. Houghton with a chance and buries it far post. Palace come back from 2 goals down to now lead by 3 goals to 2. And a perceptive through ball by Edworthy, and a fine finish from skipper Ray Houghton.
A 3-0 defeat, Dave Bassett's first at Huddersfield, followed by a 3-2 home victory over Birmingham City. Then the dreary 0-0 draw at Luton, followed by the fireworks at Palace's 5-0 demolition of Grimsby.
Friedman. Desperate work in defence by Grimsby. Already easy to see why they're having such a dreadful spell of late. Hopkins throw. Friedman thumps it home. Hughie Friedman volleying in David Hopkins' long throw. And this long throw of Hopkins, a vital weapon this season for Palace. Great finish though by Dougie Friedman. From Hopkin. Completely missed by the keeper. Here's Friedman. Friedman with a second. He does take a goal well, doesn't he? Dougie Friedman capitalising on a blunder by the goalkeeper, who completely misses it. Still a lot of work to do, but Dougie Friedman makes it look easy. Edworthy. And loads of space on that right flank for David Hopkin. Back to Edworthy. Endar with a header. Friedman makes it 3, and Friedman gets another hat-trick for Palace. Friedman's 3rd and his 2nd hat-trick of the season for Palace. And Dougie Friedman on hand with a typical striker's goal as Endar's header comes back off the woodwork. Looking around. Steve Anderson up there. Chance for Hopkin, he makes it 4! It's Palace 4, Grimsby 0, with barely half an hour gone. Grimsby in total disarray, and David Hopkin takes the opportunity to strike it home for a 4th. There's some glum faces on that bench, and no wonder. Here's Houghton. Houghton possibly in for a 5th. Yes, 5-0 to Palace. And the crowd just can't believe it. Ray Houghton completely outpacing the Grimsby defenders, and they won't be pleased about that. And calmly making it 5.
We played well that night. The luck was on us, the ball was running for us. I scored my 2nd hat-trick of the season. I done my job, the players done their job, and we won 5-0.
You didn't go into the transfer market quickly, but when you did go, you got rid of Gareth Taylor and you brought in David Tuttle and Carl Veart. I mean, were you intent on getting rid of Gareth?
When I joined the club, I had an open mind. I mean, obviously I spoke to members of the staff about the existing players and prevailed on their sort of intelligence and knowledge of the players who were playing. And I wanted to sort of leave any sort of immediate transfer speculation alone. There was a lot of people saying to me, who are you going to bring in, who are you going to buy, what are you going to do, as Ron promised you money. But I had no intentions of making any particular moves. And we found ourselves in a situation where South inquired about a couple of players, and one of those was Jerome Blower. And it worked out that he wasn't in the first team on a regular basis, and they offered us a figure that we felt was acceptable. And we we spoke to the player and he was interested in going because it was more first team football, so he went. So that was one of those situations where we found that where a player moved out, there were 1 or 2 free transfer situations which we could resolve. And what had happened during the early period, I'd had an inquiry from Sheffield United about Gareth Taylor, that they were a little bit interested. They were looking for a big centre forward and he was on their list. Was we prepared to consider the offer or consider a transfer? And I was open-minded. I said, it depends what you have in mind. And then we started to move around, and it went on for a few weeks. And, you know, at the time I felt that we were a little bit short at centre-half. We only had Gareth Davis and Leif Anderson and Tony Gow, and I felt that we needed strength in that sort of department. So really, the transfer took a few weeks to go, and you know, I felt that with the centre forwards we had, or the strike force that we had, and with George Endar being able to take a step forward, that Gareth could be allowed to go on the basis that we could get Dave Tuttle, and I could also give us a utility player in Carl Veart, who I felt would be a very good squad member.
4 more straight wins followed to make it Palace's best run of the entire First Division campaign.
Palace coming forwards. Little to choose between the two sides at this stage. Hopkin. Just over. Not a bad effort. Certainly one to test the keeper. Pass from Friedman to Hopkin. And a little chip just off target. Andy Roberts eventually taking the kick. Played through to David Hopkin. Cross coming in from Edworthy. Anderson there. Friedman! A goal for Palace. The goal scorer yet again, Dougie Friedman. In the right place at the right time, as so often, as he accepts a knockdown from Big Leif Anderson and coolly volleys home. Dean Gordon. Roberts. Mistake by the defender, Endar takes full advantage and gives Palace the lead. George Endar heading home from a tight angle, and Tranmere pay the penalty for some sloppy defending, but credit to George Endar, well taken goal. They play some good football, Tranmere. Might feel rather aggrieved to be a goal down. There's a chance here for Thomas. He puts it in, an equaliser for Tranmere. Dyer finding Hopkin on the left side. Hopkin, a goal! A vital strike by David Hopkin. Acknowledged by Ray Lewington. And with just a couple of minutes to go, David Hopkin looks to have secured 3 points for Palace with that magnificent shot in off the post. Here's Simon Roger for Palace, threading it through to George Endar. Endar! Lovely finish by George Endar, and Palace take an early lead. And don't they look delighted? George Endar, right-footed finish. Hopkin, good work. Through to George Endar, nicely past his man, chance for 2, and fine save. Still not over for Grimsby though, off the line from Friedman. Miraculous clearance by the defender. Andy Roberts through to Endar, crudely brought down. That'll be a free kick and surely a yellow card. Indeed it is. And a chance here for Dean Gordon perhaps. Gordon, and Dave Tuttle is claiming it. Deflection from Gordon's free kick off Dave Tuttle. Well, Dave Tuttle's claiming it anyhow. So just 8 minutes remain and Palace get a breakthrough. Tuttle, chance for Dyer, he's done it. At long, long last, Palace take the lead. 82 minutes gone and super sub Bruce Dyer gets the vital goal. Touch on by Dave Tuttle, there was Dyer. Luton have held out bravely, now starting to disintegrate. Here's Hopkins cross, Dyer again. 2-0, both to Bruce Dyer, and what an inspired substitution that was. Hopkins cross and Dyer at the near posts.
Despite ending the run with a 0-0 draw against Pompey, Palace were now in third place with 24 points still at stake. The objective must now be to earn automatic promotion as champions or runners-up. On transfer deadline day, Dave Bassett added defender Kenny Brown to his squad.
Yeah, Kenny's actually, the lads were laughing and joking with Kenny because he's had a few clubs this season. He's been on loan to a lot of teams this year. But, you know, he's a steady professional, extremely good on the ball, and I think he was just what we needed at the time. You know, what about transfer deadline day? You don't want to go out and buy someone just for the sake of buying. You only want to add quality players to the club, and obviously at the time there weren't them ones around to improve the team that we had. Kenny's came in, and, you know, he's done very well for us.
Against Millwall, there was no doubting the determination of the Eagles.
Millwall coming forward, ball played through. Weir brought down, and referee has given a penalty. Gareth Davis, the offender, and Alex Ray with a chance, but saved by Martin. Great save by Nigel Martin, and actually off his feet. George Endar, good skills. Still Endar, gets the cross in. Here's Hopkin, and Palace have the lead. It's courtesy of David Hopkin. Cross from Endar, some sloppy defending, but David Hopkin making no mistake. Palace 1, Millwall 0. Endar into Houghton, chance here for Ray Houghton, saved by Keller, and followed up by Kenny Brown. Kenny Brown on his debut, making it 2. And Kenny Brown popping up from the right back slot to be on hand to tap in the rebound. A little bit of pushing going on, and the referee has in fact, I think, awarded Millwall rather a penalty. He has. Alex Ray, that time making no mistake, and a little bit of an instant there with him and Nigel Martin, and quite sure what Alex Ray is trying to do. Roberts forwards. Hopkin. Kelly way out of goal. Vincent back to Endar, it's 3. And Casey Keller really coming out of goal needlessly, and Palace taking full advantage. Great clearance off the line, but some good work here, and George Endar slotting it home. Endar again, turning into a bit of a rout now for Palace. Houghton in running the show in this second half. Endar overhead kick straight at Keller, and he's dropped it and put it into the back of his own net. What a nightmare goal for Casey Keller, and George Endar can't believe it as he somehow scores Palace's 4th. Easy for the keeper, and that's just about sums up Millwall's afternoon.
Any thoughts of complacency at this stage were nipped in the bud rather early on by Port Vale.
Edworthy. Musselwhite. Well, completely missing it. Chance for Friedman, and a goal for Palace. Terrible blunder by the Port Vale keeper and defender. And Dougie Friedman doesn't miss opportunities like that. Had to be the keepers, but obstructed by his own defender. And Dougie Friedman says thank you very much indeed. Hopkin. Houghton. Hopkin again. Houghton. Time to measure the cross. Header coming in, a second for Palace. It's Dougie Friedman again. Palace 2, Port Vale 0. A Dougie Friedman double. Cross from Houghton, and Friedman just beating Kenny Brown to get his head on the end of that cross. Well, they need a goal quickly if they're to get back into this. Here's McCarthy. Left-footed strike, and it's eluded Nigel Martin and gone into the back of the nets. Port Vale. What's coming in? Foyle, another one. An equaliser off the head of Martin Foyle. Suddenly it's 2 apiece.
The actual Port Vale team had come on a high. I think they'd won 6 games on the trot. You know, and that's good going. So we knew we were up against a team that was on form, and we started very, very brightly. We were 2-0 up half time. You know, and I think maybe we got a little bit complacent second half, and then two bad goals from our point of view defensively. And really, you know, they could have went on and won the game, which was a poor performance for us second half.
After the 1-0 slip-up against Leicester, Palace renewed their progress with 3 more straight wins, first at Reading.
It's a poor header back, might fall to Friedman, surely a goal it is. A comedy of errors in that Reading defence, and Dougie Friedman gives Palace the lead. There's Quinn, and fisted away by Nigel Martin. Friedman. Houghton, 2-0. Superb strike by Ray Houghton, surely clinching the points for Palace. It's away. Simon Roger getting a touch, flicked on. Friedman shaking off his man. Friedman, a goal to Palace. Dougie Friedman making no mistake. Friedman shaking off the big defender and drilling it home far post. Typical finish by Dougie Friedman. Houghton. Here's Roger. And that's 2 for Palace. Simon Roger taking the credit, but it looks as if Dougie Friedman may have got the faintest of touches. And looks as if there was a slight deflection off Dougie Friedman. He's claiming it. Wolves coming forwards. Header by Steve Bull. Surely a goal for Venus, off the line by Andy Roberts, I think. Superb clearance. Osborne. There's Hopkin. Hopkin, chance here for David Hopkin. He scores! David Hopkin taking advantage of a mistake by Simon Osborne, of all people, to give Palace a lead. And created space well for himself, and his left foot shot through the legs of Stowell. Here's Friedman. Roberts, done well for Palace this afternoon. Tries the shots. Here's Dyer. 2-0 to Palace. Bruce Dyer, fine bit of opportunism. Bruce Dyer's header after a shot by Roberts, which Dyer actually flicked into the air and followed up with his head to give Stowell no chance.
Palace had one last stab at securing their destiny. Victory over second-place Derby County would put them in pole position to take the automatic promotion place. Defeat and it would be the playoff for Dave Bassett's men. The match played in a cauldron at the baseball ground.
Yes, it was very noisy out there. Their fans were very much up for it, and our fans obviously were too, but you just couldn't hear them that well because they were drowned out by the noise of the Derby fans.
Taken by Chris Powell. Once played for Crystal Palace. Brown with a header. Carbon showing good composure. 20 years old there. Pitcher. Stimac in quickly. Off down the edge. Sturridge is through. Chance for Derby County. 1-0. Pitcher to Houghton. Call upon his experience and skill now. Pitcher. He'll relish this sort of battle. He's a real battler. Bruce Dyer. Done well. Knocks it across though. Not a bad one. Kenny Brown! It's 1-1. Well, what a way to hit back, and what a start to such a crucial game. And Kenny Brown scores for Crystal Palace.
Dyer does very well there. Goes past Flynn, pulls the ball back in, and you know where you'd have to be disappointed is Kenny Brown comes from a deep position and he's stolen into acres of space, but once he's got there, terrific left foot finish.
Handball as Brown plays it in and fisted away. Only as far as Simon Roger onto that left foot, dinged in again by him, and somehow Derby get that away. Here's the corner. Good one. Got down and in by Van der Laan. It's not over yet. It is now. Derby County go into the Premiership next season. The result of this 2-1 victory here over Crystal Palace.
I was very careful not to make any predictions when I joined the club, because I think you can sort of have a noose round your neck by saying, I think we can achieve this and I think we can do that. I think there was a manager who joined the club similar period to as I did, felt that his club could get in the playoffs, and they've nowhere near got that. So I think you can create a problem for yourself, and I wanted to make sure I got to know the players and get the feel of the place without sort of saying we will do this. I think you've got to know the ins and outs. Obviously I was hoping that we could make the playoffs. I kept that sort of secretly to myself and felt that if we got on a good run it wasn't impossible, but it certainly wasn't something that I thought, well, we can definitely do. It wasn't as if we were just outside the playoff area where you felt a couple of victories would get us in there. We had some work to do, and fortunately it worked out that the players worked hard along with everybody else to get us in the playoff position.
With Palace now unassailable in third place, the last game of the season proper against Norwich City was almost an irrelevance, despite this unfortunate own goal.
You know, I've certainly enjoyed my 3 months at the Palace so far, and you know, nothing would suit me fine than to actually give the Palace fans, you know, the promotion that they want to the Premier by beating Charlton over the two legs and winning at Wembley. That would be a nice end to the season and an exciting opportunity for next season. If we can't achieve that, then let's make sure the roller coaster continues next season.
The final placings decree that Palace must face near neighbours Charlton Athletic in a two-legged match to gain that coveted place at Wembley. The first match took place at Charlton's Valley Ground.
Well, it's the first ever London derby in 10 years of playoff games. These two South London rivals then, until a couple of years ago, of course, shared the same home at Selhurst Park. Bradley Allen battling for the ball. Here's Bowyer, will have a big impact on the midfield. Palace will know they need to keep him quiet. It's Palace's throw, or rather Charlton's throw. Andy Roberts thought it was Palace's throw, and they need to have a word with the referee about it, and the referee needed to have a word with him. Here's Robinson, and now Matt Jackson on loan from... Oh, my goodness, and it's a goal! It's Newton who's put Charlton ahead. It's a mistake in the defence. Leif Anderson, who very nearly put through his own goal, and somehow Martin kept that out. And it was a simple matter then for Charlton to take a valuable lead through Sean Newton. Nadar gets that one. Freeman getting in behind them. And good save there. But in the end, well, that's extraordinary. Kenny Brown. And it's 1-1. Well, that's his third goal since he's come on loan from West Ham. and that probably could be the most valuable of them all. Friedman getting in behind, Pedersen just half stops it, Pedersen, and Kenny Brown follows up.
Well, I was talking to his dad before the game, Big Ken's here, and he'll be delighted, man, that his lads managed to score today. He followed it up brilliantly, didn't he? As the goalkeeper parried it, kept it low, got his toe down, bang.
Rufus with a header. Adar going it for Friedman. Got Kenny Brown in there again. Goodness, Friedman again. This is good spell for Crystal Palace. Friedman stopped by Pedersen.
Almost identical position, having a shot there, and the goalkeeper parried that one. But that time, no Palace players following up.
He does make those late runs, and that's exactly how he scored his goal. Here's the corner for Crystal Palace. Adar trying an overhead. And Carl Wilt puts it over the line to make it 2-1 Palace. After some extravagant work there by George Nadar.
Well, on the cards, wasn't it, that they would get another one? Over it comes. Charlton sort of half got away, but very acrobatic there. And reading the script here, and it was an awkward ball from, you know, to lean down there, get it, dump, bump, thank you. But that was an awkward ball for him, but he took it well.
They responded better in the second half. We played well in the second half, and we've got ourselves 2-1 in front, which obviously is a great advantage for us. But our first half performance wasn't up to standard, but the players have shown me by playing better in the second half.
But they were defending really well in numbers there. Crystal Palace, and Nadar hooking it up to Friedman, who's had a terrific season with 20 goals, and he plays the ball nicely for Nadar, and still Nadar, a chance now. Can Houghton finish it off? It's there! Ray Houghton for Crystal Palace. Look at that joy on his face. He knows that will go a long, long way towards booking a Wembley place for Crystal Palace now. They've increased their advantage from a 2-1 from the first leg to a 3-1 aggregate. Nadar does well. It falls loose for Ray Houghton. Well, I was privileged to see Ray's goal in New Jersey in the World Cup for the Republic of Ireland against Italy, and that brought him tremendous joy. But you could see on the look on his face, that was not far from being in second place. Referee looking at the watch again, and it's Palace who go through to Wembley. 1-0 winners on the night, 3-1 winners on aggregate. Ray Houghton's goal gives Dave Bassett's side another Wembley appearance and a possibility of bouncing straight back into the Premiership after one season out of it. Ray Houghton's goal and Ray Houghton's performance both on Sunday and here tonight have been so much that separated the two sides. It's a night of great triumph again for Dave Bassett. In football they say never underestimate a Dave Bassett side, and again he has turned this Palace club round from his arrival in February, and the form team will now go on to a Wembley with a great chance of leaping straight back into the Premiership.
Well, this, of course, is the North dressing room at Wembley Stadium, where in half an hour the Palace team will be arriving by coach, getting changed in here for the final against Leicester City. An awe-inspiring stadium, an awe-inspiring dressing room, although possibly not quite what people think. But having said that, this is where it all starts, and let's hope that it starts with a successful burst into the Premiership for Crystal Palace.
He's been here before with Sheffield United looking for a different outcome, but many of the players, this is a brand new experience. Leicester having seen off Stoke City, the stage was now well and truly set for a dramatic end to the season for both clubs.
$33,000 Palace fans behind you today, Nigel. How do you fancy that one?
Marvellous, just hope we can score a few goals for them.
And Leicester City, any fears about them?
They're going to be difficult opposition. We're not going to be taking them lightly, but hopefully we'll come out on top.
Well, that's the noise behind you, Andy, for the ladies' football. I can't think what it's going to be like for us.
It's going to be definitely when we walk out, and the Palace fans will be brilliant. They've been brilliant all season, so they're just going to enjoy it.
Any nerves?
Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of nerves in both teams, but we're all looking forward to it, and we can't wait to the kick-off.
The prize today is probably bigger than any prize we've played here for before, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, in a way, I suppose. I'd like to say I'm glad I'm not playing, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether they're as nervous as our supporters are.
Ron, you're famous at Sellers Park for disappearing from the director's box and going into the boardroom during the course of games when things get a bit hot. I mean, where are you going to go here?
Well, if we're winning by a goal, yeah, quite likely I'll disappear. If we're losing, I can watch that, hoping we're going to get back in. But if it gets tight, no, it's bicycle clips time.
Edworthy. That's a dangerous looking ball by Edworthy, and Heskey was in there, so too was Watts with the final clearance. The first real moment of danger to the Leicester goal there. Here's Roberts. Hopkin. Houghton. It's a good looking ball through, and it's in! Andy Roberts scores! Palace are in front!
And Kevin Poole won't believe that at Wembley a ball could bubble over him from that. All culminating in some good play between Houghton and Roberts. Roberts brings the ball out from the back to start with. Plays Houghton in, Houghton finds it back, and look at it, a bubble at Wembley.
It's the first goal he scored for Crystal Palace, and what a moment to open his account. Walsh. It's continued his run down the left, and Walsh with a glorious ball sets him clear. That could be a penalty, it is. Determined, was tripped by Edworthy. The referee had no hesitation. Gary Parker, never afraid to take responsibility, will take the kick. I'm not sure what's happening here because Zelko Kalats, the substitute goalkeeper, is coming on to take Kevin Poole's place. And maybe Kalats says, look, I am the king when it comes to penalty shootouts. You get me on there and I'll win you this match. It's the only thing I can imagine that's happened.
Well, he's a big lad, and whether they think he fills the goals, you know, when it looks a bit more intimidating when penalties are being taken. I'm surprised at, because Poole's always given me the impression that he's an excellent reaction keeper.
Well, but that could be the winner from Claridge. It is! Steve Claridge has given Leicester a place in the Premiership. It's all over, and Leicester City take their place in the Premiership. It was a cruel, cruel way for Nigel Martin and Crystal Palace to lose out in the end, when they must have felt they were going to at least have an opportunity from the penalty spot.
We deserve penalties today, but I've learned to accept that football's never over till the referee blows the whistle, and this just goes to prove. I said fate takes a hand, and it did today.
You know, we're obviously disappointed with the result today, but you know, as I say, you know, for relegation last season and to come and play in the playoffs, I think we would have settled Villa up again, first game of the season. We've come here today, couldn't go any longer, and we lost on the last kick of the game.
Well, a season that started 9.5 months ago at Selhurst Park on a bright sunlit day against Barnsley ended here today at Wembley in disappointment for Palace and their fans. But being Crystal Palace, of course, will be back, and that might be sooner than people think. Anyhow, we hope you've enjoyed watching the best of this season on video over the last hour or so. It's been a great season for Crystal Palace. A little bit of disappointment today, but as I said before, that's not the end for Crystal Palace.